First, you have to go to Blender website, hit Download tab, then scroll down and hit Download Blender Experimental. Then you go to Branch and select the appropriate version for your OS. There's two options for Mac machines, for Apple CPU and Intel CPU, and a single version for Win machines. So now let's create a basic lighting setup. I'm going to use it to demonstrate the techniques. I'm going to add a cylinder here and maybe cone. I'm going to put right here. I'm going to delete this light source. And now I'm going to bring in new light. By the way, let's take the whole stuff like this. And let me add area light. I'm going to put it somewhere here, make it slightly bigger. And we'll rotate it like this and put it higher. So let's switch to cycles and can enter render mode. Let me increase the intensity of this light source like this. And let me turn off the grid and a cursor probably. Yeah. Let's slightly decrease the light source and change the position so the shadows will be more pronounced. Like that. So yeah, keep in mind that light linking works only with collections, meaning that we cannot link the light source directly to the object. So I had to choose all 4 objects in this scene, and I'm going to edit a new collection by pressing M on the keyboard. Let's call it set, for example. So now we have all these 4 objects in this collection. So now if I pick this light and go to object properties, let's make it slightly bigger, and I go down to shading tab, and there is a light linking option here. And here I can choose this collection called set. So now all these objects then reflected here. So there's 2 columns. The first one is light state and the shadow state. They're pretty self-explanatory. So for instance, if I want to get rid of the shadow from the cone, I can choose the cone here, and I click on this car icon and choose exclude. And I can do the same for the cylinder, for instance. And I can also exclude this object for the light state. I choose exclude, and here as well, like this. And I can do the same for the plane, for instance. Let's say I exclude the light state here. So now the only cube receives the light. So now let's bring everything to default settings. I'm going to choose none here for each state, here and here. So now let me demonstrate you a bit more practical example. So for instance, I'm going to add a new light source, area light. And I'm going to rotate it like this and put it somewhere here. Let's make it bigger. And I'm going to put it lower, put it behind the cube, somewhere here. Let's give it a color, increase intensity. I'm going to give this tone and maybe even more. This. And I'm going to duplicate it and put it right here and give it another color. So something like that. And I want these 2 light sources affect only the cube. So I want to have these bluish and pinkish tones on the cube only. So how can I do that? I want to choose these 4 objects as well. And now I hit Shift M. So this way I create a link to collection, and I'm going to call it cube, as I'm going to create the lighting setup for the cube. So now if I pick this light source, go to object properties and choose cube here, and I'm going to do the same for another light source, choose cube, and I'm going to exclude each object from this setup. So I'm going to exclude, and for the cylinder, and I can also exclude the the plane. And for the shadow as well. So now these two light sources affect only this object. And again, if I choose this our kind of main light source, and for instance, I can still make adjustments for each object. So again, I can just turn off the shadow for the cylinder and for the cone, for instance, or even for the plane. So this cube still receives the light from this light source. And at the same time, we see the light coming from these two light sources as well. We can go even further and create one more lighting setup. So I'm going to pick this for objects, Shift 10 and new collection. I'm going to call it cylinder. And I'm going to add a new light source, area light. And put it somewhere here, probably increase the intensity. 500, oh, that's probably too much. Like this. And let's give it a yellow color like this. And again, if I pick this light, go to object properties and choose cylinder collection, then I can exclude certain objects. I can actually just exclude the plane. And if I move this light source, it's still affecting the rest of the object in the scene. I can exclude the cube, and we still see that casting some colors to the cone. So I can just where it is, exclude the cone. So now it doesn't receive the light. So yeah, something like that. And again, if I pick this light source and go to the object properties, I can actually turn on shadows like this. And I turn on shadow for the rest of the objects, for the cylinder, include, let's see, and also for the cone. So now we see the shadows from this light source, and I can do the same for the cube, for instance. Let's choose include like this. So possibilities are basically endless, and I think it's a pretty cool feature. I hope that Blender will implement it in official releases in the future. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you soon.